Welcome to Milak Online Tutorial, and before us is this exponential equation, and it reads that 4 raised to the power of x equals x raised to the power of 64. We are asked to find the value of x. Okay, now first of all, what we need to do here is to see a way to bring the x's together and to bring the real values together. Okay, so here we have 4 raised to the power of x equals x raised to the power of 64. Okay, now for every exponent, okay, let's start with 64. Okay, first thing we need to do here is to raise both sides to the reciprocal of 64. Okay, all right, and while we are doing that is to undo this 64 at the right hand side of the equation. So we raise this to the power of 1 over 64. We raise this to the power of 1 over 64. Okay, now come here. Let's recall that when you have a raised to the power of m according to the law of indices, or raised to the power of n. Okay, now these two exponents multiplies each other. Okay, so in this case 64 multiplied 1 over 64 will definitely give us what? 1, which means multiplying 64 and its reciprocal will give us what? 1. So here we have 4 raised to the power of x, or raised to the power of 1 over 64. Okay, now will give us now here we have what? X. Okay, all right, and let's take note that we can also swap this exponent, which means we can have a raised to the power of n or raised to the power of what? M. Okay, if we apply that rule here, we have that 4 raised to the power of 1 over 64 or raised to the power of x then equals what? X. Okay, now the next thing now is to see we will move this exponent x to the right, to the right hand side. And how do we do that? Is to raise both sides to the reciprocal of the exponent, which is what? 1 over x. So here we have 4 raised to the power of 1 over 64 or raised to the power of x. Okay, then we now raise it to the power, the reciprocal of x, then equals x raised to the power of 1 over what? X. Okay, applying this rule here again, okay, we'll multiply, x to each reciprocal, it gives us 1. So we are now left with 4 raised to the power of 1 over 64 then equals x raised to the power of 1 over what? X. Now if you take a look at the right hand side of the equation, you get to see that you have x raised to the power of its reciprocal. Okay, so but in this case we are having 4 raised to the power of 1 over what? 64. Now let's come up with a number in which we can apply at the left hand side of the equation for us to have the same base and its exponent as a reciprocal. Okay, so how do we go about that? Now I thought of something. Okay, one same number will raise 4 and that same number will multiply it by 64. Okay, so we'll come over here. We have 4. Okay, now raised to the power of 1 over 64. Let me just make it more simpler. Okay, now 1 over 64 can also be 1 times 1 over 64, right? So here we have raised to the power of 1 times 1 over 64, because 1 times 1 over 64 will also give us 1 over 64, then equals x raised to the power of 1 over what? X. Okay, so this same number will definitely raise 4 to that number and will multiply 64 to that number. So then here we have, for us to achieve that the same base and the reciprocal of this base, we have 4 all over 4. Why? Now 4 all over 4 will actually give us 1. Okay, and why I applied 4 is because when you multiply, let me do this completely. Now When we multiply 4 times 64, we have what? 256. And this, the numerator here, 4 raised to the power of 4 here will give us what? So here we have 4 raised to the power of 4. Okay, splitting this, 1 all over 4 times 1 all over 64. Now give us x raised to the power of 1 over what? X. Okay, so at this point now, 4 raised to the power of 4 will give us 256. Now 4 times 4 here, okay, or 1 times 1 will give us what? 1. All over 4 times 64 will give us what? 256. Then equals x raised to the power of 1 over what? X. Alright, now looking at the left hand side and the right hand side, by comparison, we can agree that x equals 256. Thank you and God bless.